Welcome back to AI for the Humanities. I'm Megan McInnes Dominguez, Associate Professor of Spanish at the University of Delaware, and this channel is your go-to resource for exploring the intersection of generative AI and humanities education. We'll dive into the latest developments in large language models, discussing their benefits, challenges, ethical considerations, and practical applications in your classes. Our goal is to examine how these powerful tools relate to humanities education and how the humanities can shape the future of AI. Whether you're new to AI or have been experimenting with these technologies in your teaching, you'll find valuable insights and practical tips here. Join us as we navigate this exciting frontier, exploring how the humanities can contribute to and benefit from the AI revolution. Today, our 50th episode, I want to reintroduce you to Grace Gullick, a senior computer science major with a minor in art and interactive media here at the University of Delaware. Grace was one of our interns from last semester's AI for the Humanities program, and she brings something really valuable to this conversation. She understands both the technical side as well as the artistic side of AI image generation. She's going to walk us through Midjourney, showing us how it actually works, how it compares to other tools like ChatGPT, and getting into the real ethical questions that come up when we use AI to make art. Take it away, Grace.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my second video. My name is Grace Gullick. I am a computer science major with a minor in art and interactive media at the University of Delaware, and today we are going to be exploring Midjourney and its various tools. In my last video, I described how Midjourney is an AI image generator that uses pre-existing digital art to train its models. Midjourney can also be used as a tool or medium for artists. However, there are some ramifications involved with that, and it is slightly harmful to artists. In this video today, we are going to be exploring the customization tools that Midjourney has, and we are going to endeavor to use Midjourney in an ethical way. So we head on over, let's look at some of my favorite tools. So this is the editing tool. As you can see, you have your different tabs on the left here. I'm in edit right now. And so we're going to upload an image. So let's say an image of a frog. There we go. We're going to add from file. And let's say we wanted to add this little frog onto a cloud. So we're going to get a cloud. And so we're going to move this layer to go behind our frog layer. So we have moved our cloud layer to be behind our frog layer. So we're going to move and resize some things. So we're going to resize the frog first of all, because he is way too big. And we're just going to put him on our little cloud here. And as you can see, I kind of have lost like some of the image here. It's not really sizing well with the composition of this image. So we're going to change the aspect ratio. So we're going to say, let's click on our layer 2. And we're going to change it to maybe, yeah, that looks good, a 3:2 aspect ratio. And so I want this frog to not have the white background. So I'm going to choose Smart Select, and we're going to choose what to include. So as you can see, when I selected it, automatically selected the eyeball of the frog, but you can choose the whole thing as well. And here I have, and I want to erase background. And there we go. So another thing we can do is we can ask this to make this image more cohesive with each other. So we can make the style of the frog match the style of the cloud or vice versa. So we could say we want to make this painting or this image into a painting, an Italian Renaissance painting. How about that? Style painting. So we're going to submit the retexture, and it's going to generate a couple options from this. So we have, as you can see, we have our original image here that we edited together to make work, and it's going to output our image, but in a style that we like. So as you can see, it has kind of done this in a Renaissance, like Italian Renaissance art style. It's quite a funny image. But as you can see, it kind of doesn't understand the logic of a frog being on top of a cloud. So instead, it's trying to reason it out with a sculpture here. In this one example, another sculpture, and a cherub. This one's actually quite funny. I quite like this one. But as you can see, this feature is very useful if you want to combine different AI-generated images or regular images. If you wanted to combine a couple of these, you could download them and then edit them again. And yeah, this tool is also good when you're pasting images together and you want to make them look more cohesive. So let's go back to our Create tab where you're first taken to when you go on to the Midjourney site. And so we're going to explore the Vary tool. And I have a couple images I just generated here previously. Let's see. I kind of like this one. Let's do the little raccoon with the wine glass because I think that's cute. So with the Vary feature, we can control the degree we want Midjourney to modify an image. If I look at this image and I see that it's good and I want to make slight changes, I can make very subtle changes. Or if I don't think this is the image I want in any way, I can ask it to create very strong changes. So let's say, I kind of like this image, but like there's something I just don't like, there's not quite right about it. So let's ask Midjourney to do a subtle variance. And then we're also going to ask it to do a strong variance. And so as you can see, a little pop-up came up that said the image was submitted. And when you go over to our Create tab here, you can see it's loading. So let's go back. So this is our output from that. As you can see, the subtle changes, like not a lot has been changed. Kind of just the facial features of the raccoon here. Again, very, very slight changes. That one's really cute. But when we go over to the strong changes or strong variations, you can see that the wine glass is in different positions. The raccoon is holding it differently. So it's a lot of drastic like positioning changes that are going on here. And then another tool we can use is the Use tool. So if I say like the style of a certain image, let's look through here. I quite like this style. This is quite cute. So if I wanted to use this style of this image, I could select Use and I could select Style. So up here we have the prompt input and we have the style here. So let's ask it to create a basket of fruit. And the hope is that I'll output that in this kind of painted, flowery kind of style. Okay, and as you can see, it still keeps us on this tab, so we can do a couple things as well. If I wanted to create this image in a, let's say, cyberpunk style, just to have some fun. Okay, so we see this basket of fruit here. It looks quite a lot like the flowers that I was showing you earlier. It's this very painted, almost watercolor kind of style. And you can definitely see some brush strokes going on. It's very beautiful. Okay, so we have this image, this flowery image, and we created it in a cyberpunk kind of style. So in this instance, it kind of added elements to it and kind of changed like how these flowers are being depicted. But yeah, it's definitely something interesting to use. This is good if you kind of have a style in Midjourney that you like in one image, but you really want to use it in a different image, or you want to create a cohesive set of images that look good together, or yeah, you can just iterate over and use images you've already generated to curate a certain style. So a very similar tool to Midjourney is ChatGPT's Dolly. And this is something I've been using lately. I've kind of been playing around with what ChatGPT can generate and what are the differences between Dolly and Midjourney. So to try and understand these differences, we're going to look at some professional commentary. So in an article published by Digidap in March of 2025, it discussed how ChatGPT is great for people who want to modify images or create a mock-up or starting idea, while Midjourney is great for a finished visual project. Midjourney is a lot more detailed and illustrative than ChatGPT is. ChatGPT is very accurate, but it's not as illustrative or creative. And when it comes to complexities and accuracy, ChatGPT certainly is the best. In an article by Alex Hughes released in April 2025, they explained how ChatGPT is very accurate with small details in a prompt, while Midjourney misses those details or messes it up. When it comes to complex prompts, ChatGPT is also more accurate most of the time. If you ask Midjourney to produce something very complex, it will get halfway through and then fail. In our next article, written by Liz Tycon and published in January 2025, she makes the observation that Midjourney is once again great for more ornate and finalized images, while ChatGPT has a slightly lower quality. One of the main focal points of this article was how ChatGPT is more accessible to the average user who wants to experiment with image generation, while Midjourney is geared towards digital artists. Midjourney requires practice and experimentation and knowledge to know how to use the customization tools and how to get the best result from inputted prompts. So Midjourney requires a bit more knowledge than ChatGPT, which is why ChatGPT is more accessible and simpler to use. So as we can see from a lot of these articles, ChatGPT is more technically accurate and more well-built than Midjourney. However, when we're looking at the art community and what is best for artists, because we are discussing AI in the art world, Midjourney is the best option. Images generated with Midjourney have better image quality, and there are many customization tools in comparison to ChatGPT, which doesn't have many at all. But in this case, Midjourney is definitely more suited to be used as a medium or a tool for artists than ChatGPT is. If you are someone who is using image generation or Dolly to create a mock-up or to visualize an idea just for a homework assignment or for a product design, ChatGPT is definitely a good option. Just make sure that when you're doing that, you're citing your AI, you're making sure you're not plagiarizing anything. Like, make sure when you're using Dolly to produce these mock-ups that you are citing it correctly, and that later on you do actually get an artist to come in and design the final product. But anyways, ChatGPT is easy to use and it gives an accurate and quick image. And so I have an example here. So I asked Dolly or ChatGPT and Midjourney to create an image of a crab on a beach. Nice and simple, not too complicated. And on the left here, we have what ChatGPT generated. And this is certainly a very good image of a crab on the beach. It has the details are all there. The clouds in the background are quite nice. The shadow of the crab is there. And the crab is quite nice to look at. But if we go over to Midjourney here, it's not as accurate because sand, it doesn't quite look like that. And the crab doesn't really have a shadow, but it is quite beautiful and quite interesting to look at. You can kind of it almost evokes an emotion. And so when you're working with images like this, if you like this style, which I quite like this style out of all the options Midjourney generated, I quite liked it. So I could take this style and apply it to a different prompt where I explained, okay, make the sand more realistic, add a shadow. Like I could specify what I wanted to fix in the next image and use the style in this image to make that match. Okay. And so, as I discussed in my last video, many AI image generators like Midjourney scrape digital art from the internet and use it to train their image generators. There has been a major court case involving this issue called Anderson versus Stability AI. This case involves a lawsuit that was filed by Sarah Anderson, Kelly McKernan, and Carla Ortiz against multiple AI companies, including Midjourney and Stability AI, on the grounds of unauthorized use of artwork, infringement, and copyright violations. As we can see, AI is not always ethical or right, and when using AI to make art, lines of copyright and artist rights become a little blurred. It's a very complicated topic and legal discussion. It is a major issue to consider when we are using Midjourney and other image generators. We must be mindful of this and use AI in a way that is respectful to the artistic community. And I know a lot of people are hesitant to use AI since it can have a negative effect on creative communities, like I just mentioned. But AI is not going away anytime soon, and if we can use AI in a positive and artistic way, then we can integrate it into our current practices and use it as a tool instead of a cheat code like many people do. We can turn this into a positive narrative instead of a negative one. And some companies are even working with artists to foster more ethical practices when it comes to image generation in AI. And a lot of people forget that there are so many amazing things that we can make with the help of AI. AI can elevate art to a higher level and make the artistic process more efficient. I know there are some things that artists don't like when they're making art. Sometimes it can be very time inducive, and it can take up a lot of time and effort from the artist. So by using AI, we can make this process faster and easier for an artist so they can produce more art and be more creative. So yeah, there are definitely pros and cons to AI, a lot of things to consider and just be mindful of when we're using it. So as I have mentioned previously, Midjourney is not the greatest AI generator out there when it comes to very complex prompts. To demonstrate, let's go to Midjourney, and I'm gonna ask it, let's see, what do we want to ask it? Create an image of a frog flying a UFO, let's see, in the night sky. Okay, and while that's loading, I'm also going to go over to ChatGPT and ask it the same thing. So we're gonna copy this and we're gonna bring it over here. Okay, so as we can see, this is done generating. So there are some imperfections here. So when I asked it to create an image of a frog flying a UFO, I intended for the frog to be the pilot, right? But in this case, Midjourney did not understand that. And so the frog has become the kind of cow that's getting lifted up into the UFO. And I mean, it's still a good image. There definitely are some imperfections in some of these. Like, I don't know what's going on with this frog's behind, but I think it has a mini UFO on it. Let's look at this one. Yeah. The night sky looks a little weird in this one. It also didn't really get like the UFO beams quite correct, at least to me. And this one, the composition of it is kind of weird. Like the frog's not really in like the UFO beam. It's a little strange. And so let's go to ChatGPT. This might take a minute, so. Okay, here we go. So this is very cute. This is very cute and accurate and kind of what we wanted to do. So I wanted a frog driving or piloting a UFO, and this is what it did. And this is a very cute image. There's not much wrong I can find with this image at all. Maybe the fact that the frog's hand is outside like the glass, but I think that's about it. But as you can see, there are definitely some differences. Midjourney is far less accurate and it messes up on a lot of the finer details. But we must consider that Midjourney is a small company and compared to a lot of these AI companies, especially ChatGPT. And as a company grows, things like small imperfections like this and bugs will improve. And AI will improve in general as we moving forward. And I want you all to consider that Midjourney has a lot of strengths in comparison to bigger companies and tools like Dolly. Like this is very cute, but it's a cartoon. So if we wanted an actual realistic image of a frog flying a UFO, then we could get a lot more effective output with Midjourney. Because I mean, that's a really like realistic looking frog. And just the images here, they just look better. They're more interesting and creative than this. This is still cute. This is still creative, but there's so much more detail involved in the images generated by Midjourney that there definitely are some strengths here. And yeah, it's not as technically accurate, but that's okay. There's some things that we use for its strengths, and I think Midjourney is one of those things. And I would like to say that a big part of working with Midjourney is learning what types of prompts work best and what outputs the best image. And this is called prompt engineering. So this is a big thing in computer science. But basically prompt engineering is asking AI to give you a prompt and kind of steering it in a direction or a certain output that you want with prompts. And this is where human knowledge and judgment is crucial and necessary to the creative process of AI. We cannot get a good enough output with AI without a human eye or human discernment. Okay, so let's go back to the slideshow. Okay, so as I have researched Midjourney and how it interacts with art, I've learned how AI image generators can truly elevate art and can be a really cool art medium. I'm going to show you my sources at the end here, but if you look at some of those articles and the art that was generated through AI, it is very cool. It is very interesting and very cool, and it can be used to give image and give clarity to complex thoughts and ideas. I have also realized that as AI evolves and becomes a bigger presence in the world, prompt engineering is becoming more necessary. The success of AI heavily relies on what we tell it to do. And in a way, as I mentioned before, humans are pivotal to the success of AI. So considering this and all I have learned throughout this internship and going through my computer science classes and my art classes, I truly believe a whole new career field focused on prompt engineering and the ethical handling of AI is going to emerge. I think this is a whole new field because the world is changing. This is a big change, and with change comes new things. And I think this is something that we should definitely be researching and looking to as we move forward in the world of AI. Okay. So to wrap it up, today we discussed some of the fun customization tools that Midjourney has and how to use them. We compared Midjourney to ChatGPT's Dolly and explored their uses. We reflected on some issues to consider when using AI, and we included a final analysis of Midjourney. So before we end this video, I want to emphasize to you all how important it is to educate ourselves and be mindful about all of the ramifications of AI, but also how it can help us be better. If you are concerned about the future of AI, I would suggest making an effort to steer the narrative of AI and get yourself involved in determining its future. As AI advances, issues will be solved and new issues will emerge. And this is a big change, and I don't blame people for being afraid of it, but we must get familiar with it. And if you are afraid of that change or are concerned about it, get yourself involved. Make yourself a part of the decision making surrounding AI if it really concerns you. And as I promised, here are my works cited. So if you want to pause the video and look up some of these articles, there's definitely some interesting things to consider here. And definitely explore some AI generated art and art created with AI. It's definitely really interesting, and there's some cool art out there. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
So, to wrap it all up, Grace has given us a lot to think about today. We've seen the creative tools that Midjourney offers, edit, vary, use, and how they actually work in practice. We've looked at how Midjourney stacks up against ChatGPT's DALL-E, and it turns out that they're good at different things. ChatGPT is better with technical accuracy, and it's easier to pick up, but Midjourney creates more polished, detailed images that artists actually want to use. We've talked about the Anderson versus Stability AI case and what it means for copyright and artists' rights. And we've seen why prompt engineering matters, why the human part of this process isn't going anywhere. Here's what really stands out from Grace's work. AI isn't the enemy, and it's not going anywhere. What matters is how we use it. We can treat these tools as shortcuts that undermine creativity, or we can figure out how to use them in ways that actually enhance what humans can do. The technology needs us, our judgment, our ethics, our creativity. That's not going to change. As people who care about the humanities, about art, about education, we need to understand these tools and help figure out where they fit. Grace, thank you for putting this together. This is exactly what we're trying to do at the AI for Humanities internship. Get people thinking hard about these tools from multiple angles. If this video was useful, hit like and subscribe and tell us in the comments what you think. Are you using AI image generators? What worries you about them? What excites you? Let's keep talking about this. See you next time.
She's typing prompts into the void, creating worlds that once were destroyed by time and limitation. Human hands too slow, but whose brushstrokes did the algorithm know? Scrape from the web a million frames. Artists work without their name. Pixels and paint, where do we draw the line between the tool and the theft of yours and the mind? Midjourney's painting what we dream at night, but Anderson's suing for a copyright. Pixels and paint, we're standing at the gate. Do we integrate or do we litigate? The future's being rendered right before our eyes, but who owns the art when the artist is AI? She's learned the commands, floral patterns flowing from her hands, data visualized in ways we've never seen. But there's a cost to beauty from a machine. It's not going away, she says. So how do we move ahead? Pixels and paint, where do we draw the line between the tool and the theft of yours and the mind? Midjourney's painting what we dream at night, but Anderson's suing for a copyright. Pixels and paint, we're standing at the gate. Do we integrate or do we litigate? The future's being rendered right before our eyes, but who owns the art when the artist is AI? Prompt engineering's the new career. Human judgment's needed here. We steer the ship, we guide the code. We choose which ethical road. Not cheat code tool, not replacement, addition. We hold the power to make the decision. Pixels and paint, we're drawing the line. line, respecting the artist while pushing the design. Midjourney's painting, but we hold the light, balancing innovation with what's right. We're opening the gate, we can integrate if we navigate. The future's being rendered, now we realize the art is still human when the medium is AI. Pixels and paint.